Jozolopa. Mountain television is the Yavaya Mountain, Khalabala, Sokumi, Bazmezupinta, Dunugulan Chelas Kosianasana. Mountain Khalabala Yatome, Chesan Khalabala Yatanako Vuka, Taska, Motopurno, Visas and Khalabala Yatan, Lagata Lasa, Tonchisa, Nipa Mia the Park of Vonata Gumoro, Tonchisa, Sama Halima, Taska Na Danachoma, Napanapa Rungo, Chetre, Jaina Wayatoma, Napanapanchi, Hastakala Chetriata, or Murtikala Chetriatas, Mayana Zona Dima, Bectito at home park at home Vonata Guzula. Asia, Tong Yapan, Lishe, Khalabala Yabale, Nepal Basan Kamlas, English Basan Kalamago Baditanazi, Tara Weka, Nepal Basana Som Zuguzula, Tararisana, Weka Nepa Jago de Gataigo, Pinara Lipa, Artego Pentalis Borsa Lipa, Weka Nepa, Liansam, Bectito Zulagata Lassa, Napa Weka will never so called Ulina Comboseruncala, Asia Weka, Khalabala Yabale, G. Yesa, Nepal Basan Tasa, Weka Natsu Patisa, Nepal Basan Kalna Lipa, Tawe Matribasa, Wekana. English pasan lisa biadi ra wikayata ulte yaw lage chesan pa ka mema chama murtikar ju yata yatan sam banata guzula eja thon chesan pa ka banata ima belaite sona dima nipaya hastakala kshetra taska सम्मान व मायना ठुकै बारे अनुसन्धान चोम मानव शास्त्री नापा नापन्तो बेलायतिया राष्ट्रिय सुरक्षा क्षेत्र तकन प्रमुख जायना वे टंकमा व्यक्तित्व वे कय ना पचका ठाको एजाजी ना सोया है चाहिँ वे कय ना का वे कय ना ख ट्रिस्ट्रम राइले स्मिथ शायद जी ना का मिस्टेक न जुइफु शायद आपले वे कय प्रोनाउन्सिएसन व जुगो प्रोनाउन्सिएसन है भाषा ठाकुई एजा जी थॉमस सोथे वे कय त चाहिँ याना वे कछम समाज सेवी समाजशास्त्री खट अटेथेन्टु चेसम मेमा पा कठ वे कय खया त छौ भया उल्टे या लागि नाप नाप वे कलिसिए 45 वर्ष यौवन से वे कलिसिए समन्वय त्या जाइना सोना दिम नाप नाप तो छि मनो विज्ञान क्षेत्र न उटिका लाडुम अथेन्टु हस्तकला क्षेत्र सम व्यवसाय कथा जाइना चोम हस्तकला व्यवसाय कथा मसिका डोमा रत्न ज्योति साकी जु निमेष्ट पाख र बनाटे गुजिया निमेष्ट न जाजो सन लस्को सना सन लस्कोस दु जोजो लपा जिन कतिनी खलमलाई छोले वेकय छुपतिचा मसेका बिगु कुटया दक्षिण पा जिन कतिनी खण्डैले वेकय चाहिँ बारे खनाको बसे वेकय पूर्ण जानकारी वेकय मसिका चित रत्न ज्योति सके जु पाकिम बियादे तर संक्षिप्त रूपमा वेकय स्वयंको लगातार लासा वेक छम मनोशास्त्र नापना पन्टु वेकय छौ तस्का महत्त्वपूर्ण क्षेत्र छ ढाबले चाहिँ युके गभर्नमेन्ट या वेक मिनिस्टर अफ डिफेन्स अथवा रक्षा मन्त्रालय न वेक छम सुरक्षा विज्ञ गठन जाइना सुना दि ढुंगम जो लगातार लासा अथेटेन्टो वेक न चाहिँ क्याम्ब्रिज युनिभर्सिटी न वेक ठोया क्षेत्र चाहिँ अनुसन्धान एना छौ व्यक्तित्व क्षेत्र लगे जा छौ व्यक्तित्व खटगा टाल्लासा वेक पी न्यारञ्ज नेपा बिजना नेपालले चाहिँ मेन रूपमा चाहिँ धातुकला मूर्ति बौद्ध धातुकला मूर्तिकला सम्बन्धी वेकन अध्ययन ना बिजा गुजल एजा वेकन चाहिँ ज्योदेखि पि निवाट दगान त्यागुया त्याबले ठौ ठे बुखैट क्या वेकल सिखलमले या गुजी एजा ठौएको दक्षिण नापाको न्यस वेकैट चाहिँ तेत बना छन दक्षिण नापाको न्यस प्रश्न छपिन्त तेगु अनुमति कया छन जु सुबा छपि 45 वर्ष बाद नेपाल बिजत गति त्यागा बिजना
Yala Khalabala. Forgive me, Ji Nepa Basa Batichasa. English speak? Yes. That's okay. So I want to talk about the beauty of Yala in those days and what it was like to live in the city. It was an exceptionally beautiful city because of the Newa architecture. Not only the palace and the shrines, the temples and the Baha, but also because of the domestic houses.
Okay.
The architecture of the Newa home, the Che, is very beautiful. Not only the brickwork, but also the way in which the wood has been carved. And to live there, you got a very strong sense of the importance of the religion, the Dharma for the people. Tell me if you want me to stop and any translation.
Yeah, he will translate.
We're gonna today do that. Yellow the Tosca Yaga, Tosca Sundar Shordia Dizuna, Sundarena, Oti business to Sundar Takajisan Kana, Jinkana. The business yana Yelia to Lacuna Yanazagum, Lacula Balawazula, or Tendo, Motamandit, Bihar Saitana, Ulhebala. Again, no opposed to that blessing, she Christy. So you would chant a gonna you mala. Which Chena as a open danto Zadupati, Alessio Chajitana Utika Bala, Mala. Ukis Majintaga, Injita Tasca, your sort, Tagas on radio.
I lived in a Newa house, a Joshi house in Wolko, behind the palace of Yala. And I lived a traditional life, sitting cross-legged on an earthen floor, eating my rice and dal with my fingers every day. Okay. And in the courtyard outside, there was a well. And I would wake each morning to all the women of the toll coming to get their water from buckets and to talk or gossip with one another. And that was very beautiful to hear. And in the streets and in the squares of the city, it was very moving, at least twice a year, to see the Jiapu bring all their produce in. The farmers came into the city, so sheaves of corn would be laying against the chaitya, grains of rice and corn would be set out in the squares to dry, red peppers, and it was a real sense of agricultural activity inside a city, and that was very special.
Aweko say yele wolku tole say chana diu kaniga or the Mangal Bazar Lune si satman dai tole nap nap Joshi परिवार है वे संबंध चलगा मगला अलवे गना सुलो मंग दिल लावले जैसे तोले पिनेस नो छौ ची तुदु वो तुले चाहिँ सुत्न अपना अच्छी लगायो मिस्टर कोजना अले सुत्न अपना लगाया कोवियन्जनी मिसखा तस्का नै फतागा मगला वजको मको अले ची बाली चिता कि न्यू बाली युदु जब ते चाहिँ अच्छो वा बाली छौ कोनी बाली वो बाली चाहिँ अच्छिसा तोले पादा हयु खाना याउँसो मल्तना खाना कोनी खाना हाके थयो सौन्दर्य न तस्का जिता यताका थयो गएको न लुमगा दिउगा ले छौ छुजले जोशी छे चिनेवा छे देले मेज मरो अजुले न वेगा बिल्ला ठाकु मेजे जने बानी
मुलपरि सबै ठाकु
बेजना मुलपत छैन जिसेका मुलपतको मको ने हुन जा लादा नेमा वेगा बिल्ला आव चम्चाने बानी अयो कथा जे नेवा संस्कृति त सेका लवाई खवाइन थयो कथा जिदा बालाता त दैदिगा
And the last thing I would like to say about that early experience is that the streets were my Newari classroom.
That's it.
I would walk through those streets with children playing everywhere, and they were very amused to find somebody who spoke a little bit of Newabai. And they would point at objects, a dog, kitsa, and if I got it right, they'd applaud. And if I got it wrong, they'd laugh at me and they'd tell me what the right answer was. And that was the best classroom I've ever been in.
We're gonna say, this we're gonna Newa Baseku, she was a Sadak Moste Pahe, Magla. Today, practical, so. स्कूल ताका गरे दाबले पिने प्याउन बेले मस्त लिलु उयो जोजनका अले बेगन नेवा भाषाका जनाउजुल अले मस्त सन्जनिउ जिन दाउ खिचा दास इबे खुशी जिउ खिचै त जे मखला भोज दाले अले मिले मजुल अले योको निलिउ थथर याना जिसेको अगेना मस्त सन चाहिँ पालो सिंगरी जन थोजन जिदा आकर्षण लगे जुल मखला थु किसिम जे चाहिँ जे गु थन्यो नेवा नेपाल भाषा सकेले जे प्रयास है ना थु चाहिँ जिता यो खै भाला छौ अध्ययन मखला संस्था चाहिँ त्यागा सरको मस्त न पञ्जी चाहिँ हेलमेल याना सको ख याना देतो
ओके त्यसको यही पुसमा खन्जिनु
It's a beautiful discussion we're having.
Sudah.
छि 45 वर्ष जो नेपाल छ ल तत्कालीन समय यो अवस्था चाहिँ कना दिल लिभलिहुड लाइफस्टाइल कना दिल त्यसले आज छिला मूल रूपमा धातु कला सम्बन्धी चासो जुम व्यक्तित्व जुल
That's about how things have changed. I think Yoko Paya Donkola, Taskon Pagu. When I lived in the Kathmandu Valley 45 years ago, the whole population of the valley was 500,000, 500,000. Today it is 5 million.
Yeah.
And that has had a profound impact on the experience of living here, of course. You see that the minute you fly in, because where there were once green paddy fields between the cities of Patan, Kathmandu and Bhaktapur, now there is so much concrete jungle. When I lived here, as I suggested, with those streets full of children playing, now it is full of motorbikes and noise and a pollution, and it is very sad the amount of pollution and smog that you see in the Kathmandu Valley. I hope with the arrival of, I guess, Bijali electricity vehicles, that will change perhaps in 10 or 20 years. But for now it makes it difficult. In my day it was people on foot and bicycle, and that was the main way everybody travelled. But there are other aspects of life in the country which are so much better. Your sewage system was so poor that there was a lot of ill health. You have a very good sewage system now, and I know that your levels of health are so much better. I have a friend who is the honorary consul for New Zealand, who's lived here in the valley for more than 50 years, I think. And she says now the health facilities that are available in the valley are really good. And whereas in the past she might have sent someone to hospital in Bangkok, now she would want to use the Nepalese facilities because they're excellent. You have great doctors and great facilities. Your water system is great. When I lived here in Nepal 45 years ago, not once in 15 months was I able to telephone my home. Now I speak to my son in San Francisco and my son in Cambridge, England by telephone, video, for free, using the internet every day, and it is extraordinary. And so that transformation is wonderful for your people and wonderful obviously for visitors as well. And the last thing to say, perhaps if there's time to add that, is that when I was here you had 150,000 foreign visitors a year. That felt quite a lot to me, but now it's 1.2 million, and that is obviously profound.
To sandarbha napayo agulipa tayo sandarbha ko kon tayo dilgi ju yo time में जनसंख्या हिसाब से चल्ला सा मतलब 5 लाख जगह आ ठाउँ जिन जना थाना 50 लाख ताबेले सोतो चिसा सिदु थाना गुली परिवर्तन जिरु बोलते हो खाए अब एक चासो लगे जो छोराले मूल रूप में वेगा चाहले थाना उपलेना सोइबले दगवे सिमेन्ट छे खना नाबाजे अरे मगो पोक्तो पोथे छ थनुस यको अब वापी वाउसों के हैंडोपति बुद्ध खना आथबी मरे रंगो जब जे थान दुआया मोटरसाइकिल जेटा तस खए छौ छक्को जिगे बरे जेतना अले ओके यो सव ओके न पुरुषन न ओके बजो खना आठो जुला आधुनिक शहरीकरण दुआओ हिसाब है धामला तर थान यो के परिवर्तन हो न खना जुगु टाइम हो आ टाइम टाइमले 50-45 वर्ष लेपा छेगु सिस्टम का विरुद्धता मखला थयो सेउन एकवेदु विशेषण वेगना छम हलाइनेमा तन राजदूत ज्या चामजीमा मेसमेसना ताउ अनुसार उ टाइम में बिरमजीले बैंक गना उपचार यामा तासा आ कारणले तो उपचार सुविधा दिएर होला मखला वेगला अझ छौ छुटाइ दिला व्यापक रूपमा थन चेन्ज हो छौल चाहिँ मोबाइल नभजु टाइम में फोन छ गया था थाको आओ या ख्वा ख्वा सोया जिका सम सान फ्रान्सिस्को दु वना दे होया पुलि मा थयो विकास जुजिन तागा आ छौ छु न्याने तै दिला दाबले आ पुरुषन व्यापक रूपमा खन जनता यो दोली याना थन सवारी साधन यो दता आ बिजुली मखला 10-20 वर्ष लिपा शायद अपो बिजुली चले जे साधन तो प्यावल तासा थन चाहिँ पोल्युसन कम जी आसे न रे वे गर्न
प्रकारन ख थौकने मुन्ड्रेसन चाहना त्या जोन भए ख आ छत नेस छत ते मासु हो छिछौ म्य अन्तरक्रिया कार्यक्रम जुल अन चाहिँ छि चाहिँ ड्य डेकिपि नेवात बौद्ध नेवात दगा तालो ड्य डेकिपि नेवा बौद्ध दगा छ्याडायो Understand? Do you understand?
There's a question about the God making and the
why you
handicrafts.
say exactly?
Okay. Yeah. Okay. You had a talk program yesterday. Yes. You delivered talk program in a program, and on this program, the title was Buddhist God makers of Kathmandu Valley. Yes. So how it was said, God maker? Can you elaborate on that?
Well, the first thing I would say, try to say it in Nawari, is Datuya Morti Dekigu Jai Shaki Mastaka. For thousands of years, Nepal has been a center, and by Nepal I mean the valley of Kathmandu, has been the center for remarkable craftsmanship. And we are aware in Guita Bai of the earliest metal statue in Kathmandu dating back to the Lichavi era. In our current era, 542. And the quality of the making of statues that are gods is second to none. It is very fine. I could of course talk and would like to talk about the nature of the work that I found when I visited 45 years ago, but there is this question as to whether or not we should talk about them as God makers. If one is a Buddhist philosopher or theologian, it would be inappropriate to say that a human can make gods.
Right.
But I'm an anthropologist, and I listen to what ordinary people in the street say about their everyday life. They're not theologians, and I heard ordinary craftsmen regularly say, we are involved in diadekigu, the making of gods. And even we can point to one of Nepal's preeminent celebrated artists, Kulakumar, who has written in his autobiography that he is a maker of gods. So even if it might be inappropriate from a theological point of view to use that language, in English we say the vernacular, the ordinary language of people. People will say that maybe in a casual sense that they make gods.
To jigyasa tasma bala takala acha dio dekima manu utala manu na dio deki fula to यो सवाल है प्रश्न जुल वेकै बनाई अनुसार दियो देखियो शब्दलाई नेवा भाषामा ख दियो धैमला गड ख उ कया जे गड maker te te sono ka athake balage o soiwanda sa solon chili bhasha milejo dior yo god kha maker de bende ki bi athake balage sangati rupa thao kha sa a balgo banata bi shupin sala tukta marau jifu ale thake da jai oi go prasange chudai bila thana adnatale jama kalu kumar hemadu
क्रोध मूर्तिकार
क्रोध शिरोमणि अले वे कने किताबे तो आना देव बनाउने कालु कुमार देव बनाउने कलाकार कालु कुमार धासाला बांग्ला खनि रियो न सन्दर्भ वो मखला धासा वो चोचन जुसा जी छा मजो दास छ कम्प्युटर जको याव ख मखला अजु तके बनाइ छको जतै न बि जिन मियो वो टक प्रोग्राम जो गोष्ठी पाके बेले थके त थो so pragik tanga thao jusa pratima thao bala dia na dega sara sa pratima dio chain dio na mohu dio yu gyan ke uta de thau kha akena jin chain thok correction ya sa bala dia na we kara de yo doka
सब तार्किक लिसो बिलका कला वेगर ताले तार्किक लिसो बिल या वेगर तार्किक लिसो बिया जिल छि 45 वर्ष न्याथन नेपालले छाबले अबले यो आर्ट गो कलाकृति वो आयो कलाकृति छु फरक दो की गे ख आर्ट फरक दो इज एनी डिफरेंट
Is this in terms of how the artifacts are changing?
yes
Over 45 years?
yes
Can I take you back to begin with to
Yeah,
45 years
of course.
ago? So, the Ukubaha artists that I spent so much time living with and studying were very much doing their work within their household. Over 80% of the community of Ukubaha, the households of Ukubaha, were involved in the business of making statues in wax, casting them in metal, cleaning them and engraving them, and selling them. It was a dominant part of their life. Interestingly, the average household size in 1980, sorry to get sort of mathematical, it's 8.6. Between 8 and 9 people in a household.
Yeah.
Of course, there were different generations and different siblings coming together, but that household unit was the workforce for creating the gods. I think that's probably changed. I suspect household units are smaller. What they were doing, as I've described, was taking the sheet, the wax, with a shilaku, molding the figure, and then coating it in sa, different forms of soil or mud, for the casting process. Every statue was a single piece of work, a masterpiece as it were, by a craftsman. There was no cloning, copying involved. Even if they had some molds to shape an arm, they were putting that god together as a single piece of work by them. Today, I believe we are seeing some quite big differences. The households are smaller within the Baha'al. Opportunities for the families are greater because of the education system in Nepal, and they want their children to become a neuroscientist or an architect or a journalist. And over the years, other castes, such as the Jiapu, the Mananda, have provided a very good service as casters of metal, and have then realized they perhaps can make the gods. Other ethnic groups, such as the Tamang, are very good at engraving the statues, and they're providing that outsourcing service. And now we are seeing other nations, such as China, beginning to develop some high-tech systems, laser, rubberized molds, 3D printing, to, as it were, compete with that tradition. If you were to look at the quality of the gods, one of the challenges is for an ordinary person, it's quite difficult to tell the difference between the masterpiece and the piece that has been created using automation and high tech.
Right.
There are skilled people, and you, sir, I'm sure, are one, who could tell that difference, but so many can't. Perhaps that's not a bad thing, because the market has ballooned, and in China there is a very large demand, as well as obviously in Tibet and in America, for Buddhist images. And if that is spreading the beauty of Newa art, even if it's clones, around the world, that may not be a bad thing. But it is concerning, perhaps, that the Newa brand isn't necessarily being advertised or promoted in that process. I'll say one other thing, I hope we've got time for that, which is that when I studied the range of gods being made 45 years ago, it was somewhat different to the range of gods being produced today. Still, the majority are Buddhist gods, with some Hindu ones, but I'm seeing new gods for the Chinese market. Medicine Buddha. No one ever told me about Medicine Buddha 45 years ago. I know Medicine Buddha's been around for thousands of years, hundreds of years rather,
Yes.
but it wasn't something that the Newa craftsman, the Shakya craftsman was making. And perhaps more gods of interest to the Tibetan lamas are featuring now in the sales.
महत्त्वपूर्ण खटाउ खाओ
तो संदर्भ तस्का बाला देदिलो एकना नापयो देखि देव थंकने गुस्टा पाला चोंदो यो नेसले नापयो ज्या एकदम गृहस्थी मतलब केन्द्रित जे चों खद्यो जुसा अथवा व्यापक चेन्ज हो तके व्यापारीकरण जे हो वे गर्न ताट्यो क मूल त नापे देव प्याउ इबले छमजक प्यावी मगला वे गर्न थके यो बालगे तैदिला नापा सियो देखि सी दुंगा चापने मा थासा वे के यो था जेसा देखि प्रोसेस तैदिला चापने मा चापन दुंगा तालेले छमजक प्यावी गु चाहिँ यो छौ आकर्षण जी अथौं ठ्याक अगेटा छुजुगन अथो आधुनिक संसार छिपि हुन डोलेना अथौं अगेटा चाहिँ रबर मोल्डिङ प्यावला थय रबर मोल्डिङ त हन भएकन अझ चिन्या पाखेला 3 डाइमेन्सन या पिकाला छुछु पिकाला थरी जुबलेला नेपाल यो अस्तित्व जगं सानवनीले त्यो न होला
चिन्ता जे होला
वे गर्न चाहिँ थके तनकै दिमवा जब तक देव को परिचय हो पूरे धर्म ने उले प्रचार जो नि छौ सन्दर्भ थोजुला तासा लेवेकन सुधै दि ल्याबले नाबा चाहिँ 80-90% चाहिँ नेवा केन्द्रित जे चौ ज्या थो अगेन सकेट बाउलिते जे चौ था ओको बाल त हो ले ओको बाले चाहिँ सके म जसे गैर सके जे ओल दियो छौ प्रसंग वे कन जंगल और दियो नब न पन्तो छपी जपो मार्जन धागो मानन्दर मखो वेगो पिछे ठक ज्याजी ग्वाली हो चाहिँ ओले इमदन छौजो ज्यासन बिदाइबले चाची पनि ओले सके फुइमिसा देखला ले थाले दिले या थाको न मिजन त इपि बज बला इमके ग्वाली गाल इमसो सेगला हो ओजको मखो आला सके गैर सके न गैर नेवाजु हुन वो प्रसंग वे गर्न तेरी यो के बाला का आठुके चाहिँ तामाङ त यो होला मखला विश्वकर्मा त यो होला मखला ताबले नब न पन्छौपी अझ दोलखान छ यो कोही कोही चौधो वेको पिन्छ त जमा अजु सचिसा त व्यापारै आफै मखो ताबले वेको पिन त जिमा बियो छु थागो जा ताले या ढुंगा धातु यो ज्या चाहिँ परिश्रम लगे जो खासिन था कदा कि सफाई आयो साके त चाहिँ कमजोर हुन मगला थु किसिम परिवर्तन जो चाहिँ ताका त्यो गर्न ठो सन्दर्भ मोटामोटी त्यति
Could I say one more thing? So I've talked about from 1979 to 2025 and the change there. If only to emphasize that, and I guess this is a important Buddhist doctrine, the world is constantly changing.
Yes.
I'd like to talk about the 50 years before 1979. In those 50 years, the Shakya of Okubahal were famous metal workers, but they were not really involved in making images of the gods. Probably because the Rana regime was very strict and rather pro-Hindu. And the majority of Shakya were making bells and bowls and pots. And there were 4 remarkable men inside the Shakya Sangha of Okubahal, who I think are worth mentioning because they became the masters who were the source of the many, many god makers who came in those later years. Panchajyoti Shakya, who I know was your grandfather, Jogman Shakya, Kubasing Shakya, and Punyaraj Shakya are 4 very important figures who really became the source of so much of the work that followed. And I want to mention one other name. It is not a Shakya, it is not a Newa, it is not a Brit. He is a Russian that I had the privilege to know. He was an old man, 85 when I knew him, and his name was Boris Lisanovich. And he had come to Nepal when it opened up in 1951 to open the first hotel in Kathmandu, the Royal Palace Hotel. And he is the man who ran an exhibition of Newa handicrafts in his hotel to promote that work to Western visitors. And he opened a shop, and that started the ball rolling, as we say, which led to the flowering of so many opportunities for Shakya craftsmen. And I think we should salute both those 4 great Shakyas, but also Boris Lisanovich.
We're gonna to Persange, Nazatako Talomana to Paishaji Buddha, Napa Uble, Jini, Munino Naka, Tongone Yuke, Paishaji Buddha, Chi Swasta, Jarelagi, Aranayama Buddha, Atonganella Yukudu, Tablet, Nabawa Ala Yuke Pau, Diabina Yuke Bereza, Lamatesa, Yuke Tanadia Yukubarezu, Canadio, Persangazulka. Atanoya, the Tahama Conji to Cana Tablet. 1979 से 2024 तक का यो सोमक्साना 2036 साल न्यायो खगा 2081 जो ला और ये 50% न्याय लगा राना टाइम जो वाला छुई साहब 2007 साल 1991 ये कौन खा ये कौन है प्रजातंत्र वो और देव राना तेसा इबिला हिंदू में किजोला मखला Again, Uble Torgo been there, Degima, Tarmik, Katan Board, Santa, we're going to Panega.
We're going to 2 Kichman.
2 Kismaga. Ale there, Degal Lasa, Chichiragapi, Lashmi, Mala, Chenteu, Koga. Ajitan Sundarbe Naha came out, Consai, Tatamurticala Ranateo time, Nyama, Pursuit, take them precat, Jintagapi, Mala, YPA. प्रसिद्ध कलाकार भी मध्य दक्षिण पंचज्योति साके गुमा चाहिँ चिथने रत्नज्योति बाजा देशिलो अनलिपा जोगमान साके अन कुबेर सिंह अन चाहिँ पुण्यराज थगेन कुबेर सिंह वो पुण्यराज चाहिँ उपाधि देखियो का ऐसा तालते खा ताले मोक्साना ले जोग मानो पंचज्योति चाहिँ ढाडिएका यो सन्दर्भ केदिला सो ठन्ठा लगे गर्न धासी मास्टो खोज्छदा हामीले पेम कलाकार भएको बिजुल धासा छिन नेपालले काठमाडौँले 2007 उपरान्त छम रसायनपति उताइमे सो चमत्कार दिप वेकन ताका गुम बोरिस्टाम रसियन सर्वप्रथम नेपालले चाहिँ शाही दरबार होटल ल्या खोलेन दियो रोयल दरबार Magla Palace Hotel. Torio Miomu, Tonguneti Sunam Sajivale Dugimor. Where's now Sajivale, as I we're gonna Darbar Ranadeo Balankaya, Tamesna,
जमले जोंपटी
Jamle Zombati, Jamla Mukta, Tamele Zombati.
जमले पचवे
So, children. Until Gazel Davle, wake up Boris Pepari, wake on a cheese, Tatu Mutita, Politoki Ujoge, Nugu, Fafus Academy, wake up Tagaria Ditla. Wake on a say, Tell no what to do. Toyo, what a lay. BDC, Pound Theatre, Tourist Theatre, Voyakina, wake on a Muse Furiata. Gu Mew you Tonzai. Sa two of us Nepal wo we got some Nepal political tattoo particular mule well and Jintaka.
ताले नेपाली चाहिँ धातुकला विकास है वेको न मुंगु योगदान दुर गाटा यो वेको यो चाहिँ कानन ख तो महत्वपूर्ण विषय वस्तु वेकन जेसा थौ गु खानाबला नाचनु ख वतस कय महत्वपूर्ण विषय वस्तु वेकन गु टाइम यो कलाकृति चाहिँ कया गु समस्या कना दिल थो खैदा छु जे सोकुमी बाजु पिन्साना चाहिँ अवश्य न मनन यही त्यो चाहिँ पल सक्यानो तले खलना चनोइले पटिचा विषय वस्तु आई विल चेन्ज सब्जेक्ट ओके कि चिथन नेपाली चुना दिबले छिट जु अनुभव यही पुसौं सुख दुख सुरु
So we twisted into some new topic.
Yes.
It is nothing but your experience. Pleasure and displeasure doesn't matter. Share with us.
This is about living in Nepal? Or?
Yes.
Okay. I will do so. And I am going to finish with a radical suggestion.
No.
Anthropologists often use a phrase, and I know it's been used in relation to Nepal, that of continuity and change. Continuity, what lasts and is sustained over time, and what is changing. I think I've already indicated early on that there have been many changes in the country, both good and bad, and that is something one has to live with and adapt to. But for me, one of the very special things in coming back to Nepal after 45 years has been to see the spirit and the beauty of the Newa people is sustained and is the same as it ever was. Households may be smaller, there are maybe fewer children playing in the street, people may be busier, and the motorbikes might be getting in the way as you're walking down the streets. But that spirit is very special, and it's enhanced, of course, by the remarkable beauty of your traditions and by your heritage. I mean, the architectural heritage is the most obvious example. And so that has been very special for me. My radical suggestion does go back to my experience of leaving Nepal and going back home to Cambridge. I left a Nepal which had very few motor cars or motor bicycles, very little pollution, where the air was very clear, the views of the hills were very clear, and I went back to another great ancient city of learning, which is Cambridge, but where the streets were, we have a phrase, chock-a-block, with motor cars and lorries belching out horrible fumes, and it was a very noisy and unpleasant environment to be in. And I wished I was back in Yala. But not long afterwards, the authorities in Cambridge, helped admittedly by some ring road systems, started banishing cars from the city of Cambridge.
I see.
And Cambridge is now somewhere where largely you walk, and your car you keep outside in walking distance.
Walking distance, right.
And I know Venice, which is another great city, like the great cities of the Kathmandu Valley. And okay, you have the canals, but most people walk, and if they have a car, they have to walk 10 minutes or 15 minutes, but then they get to their car to go out of the city. And I believe Yala is a city that has been made for the pedestrian
Yes.
and possibly the bicyclist. It's a city where in the old days I found my classroom was the street because I could hear the
Yes.
children and the children
Yes.
could hear me,
Yes.
and we wouldn't get run over if we had a
Right.
conversation.
Right.
And my radical suggestion, and I'm escaping from the country on Saturday, so hopefully no one can catch me if it's a bad suggestion. My radical suggestion is that you should think about banning motorcycles and possibly even cars, but from the streets of old Patan, because that will transform the city for the people, for their health, and actually also for visitors. And I think it would be good from that point of view as well. So forgive me if that is too challenging, and of course it's so easy for a foreigner to come in and make grand gestures and statements like that, but that is something based on my experience of Nepal in the past, of Cambridge in the past, and where we are today.
Yes.
But thank you so much for asking me.
To सन्दर्भ वेको यो खुसी हो दुखी हो मखला नेपालले चनायो लोमंगी बाजु वेको न छोटै दिल्लाले 45% या जिथन वेले थनेयो वातावरण यो खया वेको न उपजोर बिदिला
पक्का
एकदम सफा हो हावापानी खन्नया अगे माथिन तो खनिले न चिसा सफा खण्ड हिमाल बालको सफा खण्ड वो जी चाहिँ थोक मखना और देखो 45 वर्ष दौरान नेपाल आधुनिकीकरण होना यो को बालाउ नु दाउ जी नाता न धादन थन अस्पताल विकास जुल शिक्षा विकास जुल पर्यटन विकास जुल यातायात विकास जुल यातायात के सन्दर्भ भएको न त्यो मुख्य ख चाहिँ थन चाहिँ यो को सवारी साधन दाउ
बरेजुल
वो सवारी बरेजुल हैन थकेना नकारात्मक छौ जिता लिजो वे दियो जिता गया सो समाज है सारा थके प्रदूषण बरे जुल को प्रदूषण ना जिम त चित नेवा त यले चाहिँ पिन त हानि यो मख कि पर्यटक दिन न वे अगेन थोइ त चाहिँ गुष्ट निराकरण या त यो वेको यो जिज्ञासा ओ को पंगा दियो ख वे जुल उ कारण वेको न छुदै दिलाले अतो व्यवस्थित शहरीकरण हुने खर यो जोसा आ इमथा इमो देशे क्याम्ब्रिज थन अस्ट्रेलियामा थन सफा हावा मगला खौ सफा वातावरण खनाउनु इमथाला उ टाइममा बस यो कुदु सवारी यो कुदु उयो गुथा से चन्यु क क्याम्ब्रिज युनिभर्सिटी है दाया बायाला यो कोही प्रदूषण जे होला कहाना जिले वन बास्केटबल दियो छ न भएको न सन्दर्भ तै बेलाका लिपा क्याम्ब्रिज अनि यो शहरी विकास क्रममा अनि नगर प्रमुख उगु कृष्टि पेन्सन चले सवाट 10 मिनेट यासुने माक दावे प्रवेश निषेध याना बेला गु निषेध याउले ना जिमसा चाहिँ थयो अवधारणा विकास याना थयो अवधारणा थन चिसा यले छाया भयाला तयो वेकन तय दु सुभाव के मालाउ ताला मखला
मालाउ परि सुझाव भएको
यो खोया थन मोटरसाइकल
मेयर साहब जिनी थियो
आशा याना अवश्य वेकन यो कुछ जनजन दिउ दु जनसंख्या बढे जोले गठिया गुष्टा या छियो सरले खाली थो सवारीलाई लाइगे मुख थो मखला यासको वन्यो सर ख ठुलमची मखला भेटाया मजी मफेको सवाट दुआ होला वेकन चिन्ता याना दिला छौ छुडाबले जिगु थो नेवा बेसे के बोना कोठीलाई जी सरगया ध्याते सुनो दु ओ बोना कोठी सबे मस्त त क थन्सु गरबर जिला न्यासुनी पिन त मोटरसाइकल भने के ला दियो न जिउ छुटा ध्या वेकन तै दिउ तो छौ तस्का बालो सन्दर्भ तागा वेकन थ्या आशा याउदो जि नेपाल न छु केटा लागि उपाय यैला जुन चाहिँ भित्री सरे 24 थप्नु साधन त पिने पुल चके तर बस गेजिला लैंगले तर बस गेजिला थुक रवे गर्न तै दिउ
पकानक त्यसका महत्त्वपूर्ण सन्देश वेकन प्रभावहरू छन करेन दया वेकै यो सन्देश छि मेर से वहाँ चाहिँ पक्का अनुगमन याना चाहिँ अनुसरण यही थियो जसमा भल सकानो चाहे सबैका छौं विज्ञ मनुयो विज्ञ सुझाव रहेको आई होप आवर मेयर विल बी लिसन एन्ड Hope.
Thank you.
So he's very happy knowing this tips. And
Nice,
he
very necessary also.
hope
It's
Yes.
very
our
necessary.
mayor of the city, Chilbabu Mayor, this message will go to him.
Please.
And this is a tip from one of the well-wisher of Patan City.
Exactly. Absolutely.
And he will cooperate on this
Yes.
film.
Thank you.
We will hope.
Sure.
Okay.
Super.
चित्र खल्ना सुनिले वेकन गुठो परुसने बारे खल्ना बिजात यलाई कलाकृति बारे खल्ना बिजात गु यलाई महत्व एता वेकन चाहिँ ठिका बिजात थ्वे महत्व एता चाहिँ थनि स्थानीय भाषा लो मंगल ग वे पिरा दक्ष बिदा वयका थौ महत्व थौ क्षेत्र आ वेक छम थथे मानव शास्त्र नापना पन्तो छ सुरक्षा न उत्तिकाय बिगेका सुरक्षा क्षेत्र न उत्तिकाय बिगे त्याबले थौ कने दक्कुशमेडे ज्ञानपुषे चंगो क्षेत्र रहेन सुरक्षा का चाहे वो साइबर सुरक्षा जीमा चाहे मेउ सुरक्षा जीमा तस्कै ज्ञान पुसो छिछमा ब्रिटिश सरकार या डिफेन्स मिनिस्टर या चाहिँ छमा चाहिँ सुरक्षा क्षेत्र चाहिँ चुना जना जोम व्यक्ति नेतृत्व ना वम बडे व्यक्तित्व त्यबले सुरक्षा मेन साइबर सुरक्षा त गेना चाहिँ कया बिजना
Okay. So a little bit about cybersecurity
Yeah.
and its significance. This is, of course, a big issue for the whole world.
Yeah.
One of the problems is that the internet that I praised so much because I could talk to my son in San Francisco and in Cambridge, it means that there can be bad people anywhere around the world. Very bad people, like organized criminals, or just silly people, like a boy playing silly games
Right.
on his
Yeah.
computer in the basement, who can attack you
Yes,
and your computer.
yes.
And as we have this thing called the Internet of Things, where objects begin to become connected, the attack surface
Yeah.
for the bad or stupid people
Yes.
is growing bigger and bigger and bigger.
Mm-hmm.
And it is very difficult for us to develop the right security controls
That's it.
as ordinary human beings.
Mm-hmm.
In Britain, we have a national cybersecurity security organisation which seeks to monitor the level of attack and which seeks to provide advice both to ordinary people and to those who are running the critical national services to the nation, power and telecommunications and water and the hospitals. And the reality is that they struggle to get their message across because the internet is such a new thing.
Yeah.
I don't know if you just want to sort of outline those points before I will reflect on what to do about it.
अथन नेसा वदु छौ चाहिँ अबको सुरक्षा
बिगे
हिसाबमा धर्मला चिसा छि काठमाडौँले चिसा सामने या माउरी होला साइबर क्राइम सो जल्दो बोल्दो थोंगने प्रॉब्लम असेन खन्दु अवेगे के न्याउ थके चिसा गुष्ण सुरक्षा जे फेरियोली वेगे धारणा थचो नु प्रविधि जुल संसारे थके व्यापक फाइदा न गइजौँ साथ साथै थके चाहिँ यकु बाम लाउली सो यो नदु साइबर क्राइम धासटमा थके अपराधिक मानसिकता पिन्छ छुयान मचौ छुयान जौ दिउ चिसा खन्छौ तो हैकिङ इमसा यान्चनी मबी भी मुन्तेस छुया त गए त मस्तेस न सोचौ म गेम मिठा जन मला अकेन इम त म नकारात्मक रिचुअल लाउने खला देन्दु बिलाइते थके सन्दर्भे बिलाइती सरकार या थके वैज्ञानिक त कम्प्युटर पिन्छ सुरक्षा सन्दर्भे छुयान्छन् टाइपले चाहिँ फट्ली छौ संरचना दिएको दु उ संरचना चाहिँ ह्याकिङ थियो फट्ली रोक्या मगला अले बाला उचित अले देशवासी पिन्दा न सूची कृति जान्छ नि थै थियो पाखे बजे जो थियो कथा
जनचेतना
जनचेतनामूलक कार्यक्रम न या चलाउँदो हे थाहा तो त्यसको गम्भीर विषय खतो गम्भीर छौ थके अपराधीकरण जे त्यो होला जे जोंदो चिसा थियो मजे मारियो जगा ठाउँ मला फलिनो या
So the biggest source of fraud in Britain today is from cyber attacks.
Yeah.
They are attacks on individuals, and they will often choose old people who are not familiar with the technology, and you will get messages, often very carefully and well phrased, say, this is your bank,
yes.
Please send us your details because
Yes.
something's gone wrong.
Yes.
For the last 6 months, I've had what appears to be my university telling me, we are upgrading our systems and therefore you need to click on this button in order to make sure your system is alive and well.
Yes.
And you have to have a degree of skepticism and doubt.
Yes.
And I called my university people and they said, no, we haven't done that. We'll report it, but they keep sending me this message, but I ignore it. And if you're a company, there is this terrible thing called ransomware,
Yes.
where the bad guys get into your system and freeze all your data,
Right.
and you can't get at it.
Oh.
And they'll say, pay us some Bitcoin or some so many crore of rupees,
Yeah.
and then we will let you let your system be opened up again. And there are relatively simple things that we can do to reduce the risk. If we can get hold of a virus checker
Yes.
installed on our computer,
Right.
that looks out for the bad viruses that are coming in.
Yes.
Many people, including hundreds of hospitals in the British National Health Service, were not upgrading their operating systems of their Microsoft computers.
Yes.
And there was a terrible multi-million-pound fraud against them.
Yes.
If they'd been up to date with their operating system, that wouldn't have happened. Do not go for a simple password. Many people go
Yes.
1, 2, 3, 4,
Yes.
or their name.
Yes.
The bad guys can quite quickly work that one out.
Right.
And they have computer systems that are constantly trying out these things. They don't have to have humans doing it. They'll just wait to it's like trying to unlock a combination on the safe. Suddenly they're in. So all of that is relatively simple if only people were alert enough to do it.
Right.
The slightly more difficult challenge, but we need to develop it, is what I referred to with my university account. We need to become suspicious,
Yes.
skeptical.
Right. Skeptical.
And of course that is very difficult to do. We like to trust people,
Yeah.
and especially if you what looks to be an urgent message from your son or
Right.
daughter.
Yes.
And these days the bad guys are using artificial intelligence
Artificial
to craft
intelligence.
the message so it's more and
Yes.
more convincing.
Yes.
So we have to do our best, but there's a real threat out there.
We're going to do get at the cyber crime विशेष yana yupa wo duye mukhbi manu desa jai phaira ka na jai phaira ka bole na bank क्षेत्र जैसा खाना सुनो दो जियो अकाउंट गड़बड़ या भी जियो अकाउंट इमसा हैक या ना बने ना भी फोन वो बने या तो चाहे कितना लगे इमसा ढेउ मांगे हो मगला अथयो सिस्टम कैम्ब्रिज यूनिवर्सिटी जाओ आईटी द कोप शॉप इंसा ऐसे जिमसा तो गए जब तक बजे जियो सुन तक आईडिया तो डाले विश्वास माया विश्वास या खोल रहा और जोलीना जिम गेट के सूस उपाय मोरो मखला ठक या फोरियो मोरो आ ट्याब्लेट कर जो हो ना सुन चीज छिपे चाहिँ सतर्क चाहिँ मारे जो कतै छ न मखला आ विशेष ना पासवर्ड बिसा बि मजिला अपुपति पास नम्बर ते मजिला मखला अयो कथा चाहिँ सुझाव पे गर्न बिया दियोगा मखला आ विशेष ना त हाईटेक जोलीना हाईटेक याउ खो हाईटेक तो संग सीजुल छिसेन जाबे सारान मनते साला थके फै मगो अ डामो छु जिता माउ मेसेज होयो माउ सन्देश होयो न यहाँ प्रे संग यो देशने सोइचन यो लाला आछ Sankaja Nala, Sanka, Longotology, Zula, Muzusana, Toyu Gumeji Zula, again, Saturgla, Yamauzula, Wilipata Ulichis, shopping, shopping, Mala, again, Suzab Kaka, Take, Bigas, Take, and Sudarjo News, Lokana, Jimsana, Toya, positions all do overshare. Nidan and Jim Gerabody, I got a daily. To the Zolda Boldus, Sangsari has a problem called to discuss the economy.
Wekal shi khala modoka tar samay shriya wala tar satakha wekana nacha che khala wala jole sata mahtpurna chho bishay vastu wekana lonjo jola go bishay vastu to chatang pare ja kane se chepe dungye yuge worin phuni awpati magla
Ka
to bishay le bachisa sanchipta prasthana dito wekata ina bena jola.
So it might be very interesting for our audience. On our talk before we came here, you mentioned something like a solar storm, which might bring a disaster. Every 100 years, such thing happens.
So you'll back to into stone.
Back to stone, yes. So elaborate little.
Which I elaborate. Okay. Nothing keeps me awake at night. But if anything was going to keep me awake at night, it might be this. In 1859, current era, 1959, yeah, so what are we, 175 years ago?
Right.
170 years ago, there was something that is called the Carrington event. I think named after Mr. Carrington or Professor Carrington who detected it. The Carrington event. And it was a solar storm. There are many solar storms that go on the whole time. But about every 150 to 200 years, it is judged. There can be a very large one. And it spews out lots of electrons and photons. And of course, if that is the Earth, and that's the Sun, and it spews it out that way, no problem. But if it spews it out that way, it can be very disruptive. The Carrington event saw almost all the telegraphy of the world destroyed. Wires were burning.
Wires are burning.
Now, there wasn't very much telegraphy in 1859, but most of it went. If it happened today, think how important our electromagnetic environment is for us. This television studio, the broadcast of the TV, our internet, the electricity that runs our lives, that controls water and sewage and telephones, and potentially it could take out a significant part of the electricity grid of a nation.
Yes.
Possibly all the nations of the world.
Yes.
A New Zealand study has suggested if it happened and it hit New Zealand, 35 to 40% of their transformers would be lost. They are the things that run the grid. And to replace one transformer takes 9 months.
9 months.
So you can imagine circumstances where a large part of the world may have no electricity for years, probably.
Right.
And my view is it would not be long before we would, it might be an exaggeration to say back to the Stone Age, but it would, the world would become very anarchic. And there would be chaos in the streets.
Right.
You can't travel, you can't have water delivered, supplies are ended, and so that would be very, very difficult. And what do we need to do about it? We can do something about it, and that is in terms of thinking about the most important components in our infrastructure, of which, for instance, the transformers in our electricity grid are vital.
Yes.
And either make sure they're sufficiently armoured, which they can be, that the power of the solar storm won't destroy them, or that you have spares, which are quite expensive, that's the trouble, in place. One of our other recommendations from the group that I chaired to consider this issue was that we should create a small reserve army, as it were, of electrical engineers, the people who are doing the day job in the country now, but who've had some additional training, so if that disaster struck, they could be at the front line to try to help save the country.
Right.
So I hope it doesn't happen. It may be another 150 or 200 years, and it goes in a different direction. So this is not certain, but it's something that I do worry about, and we should at least give serious thought to preparing for.
अथो गु प्रश्न उठेको ख छौ समय अन 1859 सौर्य शक्ति खनिको सूर्य न 6 किसिमको प्रकाश छैयुरु वो चाहिँ नन्यासना करोपति गयो चट्याङ ठेन दुए अब चाहिँ हरेक 100 वर्ष 150 वर्ष वे वी दु हो थ्या न्य वे न ढुंगुल खनिसा थ्या न दोरे जुल जास गेजिले यो चिसा प्रश्न जनो वे कना छुदै दिलासा थोले विषयटा लागि तर विध्वंस जी खण्डु छारा छ तो सौर्य शक्ति यही प्रभाव तो उतासलाई आठौं जिसा गु जीवन शैली विद्युतीय मेसिन विद्युतीय मगला सामान्य चिमी पर परे जी ढंगल लासा अचिथो स्टूडियो टीवी छेउ न वयति बिजुलीमा अतको जिसा इंटरनेट चलाया त न तको ताइ थे अस्पताल चले जी न वे बिजुल त अस्पताल त न जीव छुडाबले थुत्तको साधन गु इलेक्ट्रिक मगला थंगने सामाजिक सञ्जाल यन्छौ चिज न तो इलेक्ट्रिक या ख मगला युट्युब थपिन दको अगेन गु छिउ एनर्जी चलेन्छौ ख एनर्जी ध्वंस जी उथल पुथल जी अर्धा साथमा जिताला यो के फरक जिल अवश्य न जल निसा मगला अगेन या फु जिसौ छुराबले छिउ डाटा त थपिन दको हुनी उरेजी मगला अले छिउ गु बिजुली ट्रान्सफर्मर त जिसान ताइ बैकअप सिस्टम त वो ट्रान्सफर छक देखे त 9 महिनामा इमसा वेल सेट थियो यो त राउन्ड देगा त हो देगा चाहिँ भ्याजी मखत भ्या मजुबले छिपी लेन जासियो ने अवस्था होइ म छारा छ आ छिपी ठुली आतो मोबाइल भर परे जी न छपा पलाछीको पट्टी फोन या जी थाबले बना या फै मखत सोहे चीज जिसान लेकिन फै मखत अगेन छियो डाटा त जिसा फर्ले उठैन सुरक्षा या थे संदर्भ भएको पनि जी टिम आर्कि आईटी थेरेपी ठौकने थो विषयले कया अध्ययन या चौदो अगे छु परे जुल्लास बिनी फ्रन्ट वारियर्स मगला लडाइले उनीले इमता खटाया उसको जिसिबा छि सरसोया फोमो अध्ययन चाहिँ जारी जा चौदो तगे गुली छि सफल मजुदियो समय न दाइ थु अवस्था चाहिँ मोबाइलमा ध्यानसँग पुकार चाहिँ यहाँको ढुङ्गा यसले सुइतको नि मरे आएको त
पक्का समय मन्त कला अन्ते at the last, do you want to say anything?
It's been a great honor to be invited to talk to you. I apologize that I wasn't able to speak in fluent Newari. Thank you for those questions, and it's been such a beautiful experience for me returning to Nepal and returning to Yala and to the people of Yala. So I feel very honored to have been here. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We're gonna Togu Mountain TV, we're gonna to Antarvata Kayadu Li Taskai Mountain Dew Pretty Kitagi Josana, to July Taskai Sukat Anubu Jindagi Tagatana. जितना येले वे दुना छौ जिता तस्कान है पताला थ्वे संदर्भ जी चिकपनु गु जिज्ञासा त फटली मेरा या जी कोशिश है ना थसै तस्कान है गु दिन चलरी हो का त तैदिलका
युको सुबा
छिटा न सुबा
Thank you.
छि बेस्ट युको जादु अथेसा जिमो निमन्त्रणा स्वीकार्यना स्टुडियोले छाया थगु नुगख
Thank you so much.
अनुभव र महत्त्वपूर्ण सन्देश देशको लागि बिया बिल ओखे लागि छिट योको सुबा
Azia, Zubair.
So on your very tight schedule, you made your time.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Yeah, for coming here. Our invitation was well respected, and we are very much helpful for sharing your inner
Thank you very much.
vision for us, for our nation. That will be very important for
Thank
this
you very much indeed.
talk program.
Napa.
चिटन यो सुबह सपेन थन्थ्याङको बिजना खला वेको यो भायाट अनुवाद न थगु शैली दक्षिण ठिक अफुक्क ठिक कगरा दिल उगे लागि छपिन्दन यो सुबह
सबैजना यो धन्यवाद थुजिता मौको बिया दिला मगला आजि फुचाउ थमेस्न पर्सन पोजिसन आउँछ कता वेकना यो बाबाला नेवा भाषा न तै दिउदो गुता आचिसा आम जनता दर्शक तता गु विजेचना ट्रान्सलेसन ज्याया दोली तस्का है सुबह
निमेष्टन आनसक सुबह हने बाबा पिन सुखमे भाजुमे जुपे नखन सोहे दिला सोहे बिजata बेलायत छयादिमा नाप नापन्तो वेक मानव शास्त्री नाप नाप बेलायतिया रक्षा मन्त्रालय सुरक्षा विभाग कथन अटेन्टो क्याब्रिज युनिभर्सिटी या छमा नादम रिसर्चर कथन जैना चुनादीमा विशेष रूपमा नेपाली बौद्ध कला यात नेपाली बौद्ध धातु मूर्ति कला यात विशेष रूपमा शाश्वतया उगे अध्ययन अनुसन्धान न बिजना चोमा ना दासवेकै तस्का के ठाकु जित ट्रिस्टम राइल स्मिथ said Ryle Smith, so I will make a mistake, sorry for it. Weka napwatendo chi udyami रत्नज्योति शाक्य जु नापाया थु गु खलाबाला जु ख थोए चेता महत्वपूर्ण छ सन्देश वेकनन थया दिगुदु छिगु ठ्या नापा विश्व लागि छ उदाहरणीय जु गु क्याम्ब्रिज युनिभर्सिटी त कन अनि यो पोल्युसन खना यले वन मास्टर व जिट गा टाउपटी गु शब्द वेकन प्रयोगना दिगु ख थोरगा टैगु छिगु नेपायगु तत्कालीन समय अवस्था त चित्र नाचो मुजुल लगा टाल्लासा विशेष रूपमा वेकनन थया दिथेन्टु है छिगु सम्पदा सांस्कृतिक कला त छिसम्मका तसका छिगु पर्यटन विकास जिगु छिगु आर्थिक विकास जिरा छ ठौकने बरे जाउ प्रदूषण बाकेन वेकन बानलके त्या दिल वेक चम्पिने 45 वर्ष लिपा चाबले नेपाली स्वरूप या त विकास त खन तर छेल बाल त पिने सोबले रंग पाटक त दुनी पाठ रगाटा हो छे बाला स्वानी पाठ रगाटा थिन्टु छिगु परिचित न जुल नि ठुके पाके सतर्क जिमाल लेगा वेकन चित महत्वपूर्ण सन्देश बियो ठो सन्देश विशेष रूपमा यले मेयर श्री बाबा महर्जन सहित नेपाल गभर्नमेन्ट ठोकाइ त मननीय ठिट बिचाए त वेका पेथे जापिन विज्ञ पिनको सल्लाह सुझाव ठौयले आवश्यकता ख ठुके पाके मननीय रेगो भला सकेसे हनसका वेकन ताथेन्टु 45 वर्ष यो यल खोप वो यदे या त देखि नुरहेको इनाप्यासे ठौयको ठुको जाजो पाखे जी जाजो न्याकमी बिसन्तर साकेनम बेर कइगो जला लिपेको वेहन नापला वेगवेजी अबले तकै त बेर बिया दिस बेर बिया बिजौ जोजलोपा नमस्कार